Before I begin this podcast, I want to give a disclaimer. And in this disclaimer, I want to explain to you that I do not in any way not sympathize with children that are missing and children that have been abducted or trafficked or any of those things. I'm not insensitive to any of that, okay? And I want to be upfront and clear before I begin. And there's not going to be any music on this podcast because I really want you to pay attention to what I'm saying throughout. Um, if you follow Ruthless, of course, we all know that season 4 has ended with. And if you guys hear background noises, I do apologize. But I really wanted to get into speaking about this subject without even, being mindful that I'm not in the right place or, the acoustics may not be quite right. But I really don't care about any of that right now because right now I really have something to express as it relates to the television show that we watch and that we enjoy each and every week. Again, I don't want to be insensitive to anyone, but season 4 of Ruthless ended with children being missing, right? There are children of the adults that actually live there on the compound where the leader, the cult leader, the highest, has ordered the elders to take the children somewhere. And, no one knows where. There may be a select few on the compound that know where the children are, but, they can't say anything or they'll be punished, right? So a couple of days ago, I was doing some work at home and the TV was on, and I don't watch TV. I really don't. I watch a couple of TV shows, and that's pretty much it. I don't pay attention to the news and news stories and stuff. Sometimes I'll overhear it, but I don't intentionally sit down to watch news. It's depressing, right? So, but others in my household look at the news, of course. But I overheard this young lady before I sit down and just do a script and take notes and all this stuff and try to record names and dates and put a video. No, I don't have time for all that because it's just not that important for you to see a visual. I just want you to hear what I'm going to say. So let me just finish. So anyway, I overheard this young lady on the TV, and I think it was the Breakfast Club, where she was talking about, yeah, it was the Breakfast Club. She was talking about how someone reached out to her about missing children and wanted her to use her platform to make it, make people aware of these missing children. And I didn't pay much attention to it at first, but as she kept talking, and I said to my husband, I said, who is this person? So he told me who she was. And then I said, I started questioning him because he follows the Breakfast Club. And I said, well, the thing is, she was speaking about someone, reaching out to her on Instagram, telling her to produce these news stories or, make people aware about these missing children in Cleveland. So she did that. She's on the Breakfast Club and she's making an announcement. She's posting on her channel, and she's encouraging other people to do the same. So then I asked my husband, I said, well, who are the children, right? So they flashed these pictures up. Well, I don't think they flashed pictures up on the Breakfast Club. I really can't be certain because after I heard this young lady speak, I told my husband, I said, let's find out. Let's look at some news stories, right? Let's find. So I think we found about maybe 4 or 5 of the news stories, right? They were just plastered all over the internet. So, of course, this young lady on the Breakfast Club didn't have a whole lot of information. So we went to other sources and we, and listen, I'm not a journalist by any means. I'm a commentator, right? I just do reviews here. I don't do reports and news and all that stuff. So just be mindful of that. Okay, because I have people in the comments that'll, be going in talking about facts and all this, all this craziness. Sometimes it gets kind of crazy, but it's cool. It's cool. But anyway, so I said, well, let's look at some other stories. So we started digging into the news stories, right? So in these news stories, you have the newscaster who starts off. And I'm going to just say this because they were all doing the same thing. They were all saying the same things. Different newscasters, right? Different stories. So they would all begin with these 27 missing children in Cleveland. They would put up these emojicons or these pictures that were not children. They were like silhouettes of children. These are the avatars of the children, right? And most of them were African American, based on the description that the police had, right? So normally when, if you don't have 27 children missing, maybe one or two, and normally when you have things like this or children that are missing, you have the parents, you have the aunties, you'll have the grandfathers or the uncles or the cousins or friends, somebody, that can help tell the story of this said missing child. So we kept looking. So again, the newscasters will start out the story. It will be healthy story. These 27 children are missing in Cleveland. That was consistent across the board. That's what we got. So as they got into the story, like maybe, 15 seconds, they would dive into trafficking. They would dive into young women being in these certain types of houses that they weren't supposed to be in, where a whole lot of adult activity will be going on. They would say that the children are runaways. They would say that, they would dance around a lot of other situations that have happened when it involves missing children, right? Not directly, specifically about the 27. So I said, okay, they're speculating here. We're, I'm waiting for the facts on the 27, right? So then they get into trafficking really heavy. So I said, okay, so let's go to the next story. So we go to the next story. So this next story, it starts off the same. The story is very healthy. They were talking about these 27 missing children in Cleveland. And of course, from news story to news story, the numbers change. Okay. Time frame changes slightly, a little bit, but numbers are numbers. The numbers should not be changing. If it's 10, it's 10. If it's 2, it's 2. Like, why are the numbers changing? It's either 2 or 10, right? So we're still on the 27, right? So then we're going to skip all over the news stories. We're going to get to this police chief that, this sergeant or someone that was talking in front of a green screen, mind you. He's in front of the green screen and he's talking about, again, he starts off the story healthy. Then he starts to talk about he's going to clear up some of the confusion that people are having. He's going to answer all the questions that people are having, right? That's what he said in the very beginning. So then he goes on, he carries on, he's talking. And I think this was a press conference. I don't remember hearing any press. I don't remember hearing anyone talking except him in front of this green screen. And I thought press conferences were, you and the press. You're in front of the press. So because of, COVID, it has really changed and shifted the way that we do things. So even a press conference over the internet. Okay, so we're going to take that, right? So he's on this screen. He's talking about these 27. So he gets into stats, talking about statistics and examples of what could have happened to these children, right? Then after that, some other guy wheels his chair in right behind him, someone else, I guess, at the quote unquote police station that they're supposed to be at. And he wheels his chair in, someone from FBI or someone who's head of another department or someone. He wheels his chair in, and he's in a chair. Okay. Anyway, he's sitting in this chair, and he's again talking about stats. They're not talking about the 27 guys. And this is to my point. I really want us to be more mindful when we're given information, right? And this is all that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, if these children are missing or not missing. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories. I'm not talking about fake news. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about critical thinking. Let's just think for a moment, right? After this guy wheeled his chair in, and he was talking about something else, stats, talking about trafficking, talking about everything except the 27, right? So then after him, they reel in someone from FBI or someone from another department, again, talking about stats. They're still on these stats, right? So I told my husband, I said, well, what are they actually saying here? He's not really clearing up anything about these 27 children, right? Who are these children? Where are the parents? Where are the photos? I know 2-year-olds with social media accounts. They've got YouTube. They've got kids' YouTubes. Of course, it may be under their parents' name, but they watch on social media. They have iPads. They have iPhones. They have these apps that these children are on, 2-year-olds. So it's really hard for me to believe that a 12-year-old, I think these children that are missing, that they say are missing, are from 12 to 17 or something like that. That's one number that we heard, right? So if you don't have a picture of said child, then you get it from the parents, right? So at one point, this sergeant, he told us, he said, well, we don't have pictures because the parents didn't provide the photos. Something, yeah, he said that the parents didn't provide the photos or something. And then he said, well, the people who are working the case, they have all the information that they need. Okay. So he's basically saying that they don't have pictures. And I'm wondering to myself, well, why don't you have pictures? You're making this public announcement about children, right? But you don't have photos. So who in the heck are we looking for real? Like, if I tell my husband, I say, help me find my shoes, right? The first thing out of his mouth is going to be, well, which ones? Right? Which shoes are you looking for? Oh, well, I need the red pumps, with the strap around the heel, or, whatever, the ones with the silver bottoms or whatever. So, so I can identify the shoe so that he can identify the shoe. Because if I say, go find my shoe, he doesn't know what he's looking for. So he can't find the shoe, right? So if you're telling me to help locate a whole child, but you can't produce a photo of said child, there's something terribly wrong with that. If the parents don't have a picture, which I highly doubt, then what about their friends? What about a school photo? What about their friends? Right? Somebody's got a picture of this child. Come on. There's no way you're going to tell me a 17-year-old doesn't have a photo of himself, or the parents don't have a photo. So he then go on to say he started to encourage parents to unlock their children's social media accounts, or at least have their passwords, or, be able to break into their accounts to be able to find photos of their child, right? So he's leading us to think that these parents don't have photos of their children, and because you can't get into their social media accounts, we can't post their pictures. Are you serious? So that was a huge red flag for me. So I started to listen to the press conference again. I said, let's listen to it again. Let's really listen, and let's dial in to what he's saying. You know, he starts off saying that he's going to clear up some things. He starts off saying that there are 27 missing children. He starts off healthy, right, with this conversation and this concern about children that are missing. So we're dialed in. You have our attention now. So what do you want to say? So then he slowly builds up into these stats again. And then he's giving us examples of what could happen or what could have happened. My question to you, sir, is where were these children when they came up missing or abducted or whatever happened to them? Where were they at? Were they at McDonald's? Were they down the street? Were they hanging out with friends? Were they at the concert? Were they at school? Where were these children? No one has said that. And not only this police sergeant, they've got pastors now chiming in on this missing children thing. The newscasters, no one has said where these children were. They haven't interviewed not one parent that I've seen. Now this is news that has happened over 2 weeks ago at this point, right? So if I'm wrong and if things have changed, then okay. Okay, that's completely fine. These children ended up missing. They say we're missing in May sometimes, right? This is the end of June, 2 weeks ago. So that would have put us, I would say mid-June, June 14th, 15th, somewhere along in there, is when it first got reported, according to what we're finding on the internet, right? If you have children that are missing over a 2-week period, 27 of them, no, in a week, whatever the time frame was, it was a very short amount of time. That's a lot of kids. It's a lot of children that you can't find. Why did it take 2 weeks for you to make it national news? You had 2 whole weeks to find a picture, bro. like you're asking the public, to, I don't know, sympathize, empathize, help you find, do something about these said children. But you can't, we don't even know what we're looking for. We don't know who we're looking for. There is no backstory on these kids. Where is uncle from down the street? Where's the cousin? Where's the aunt? Where's the mom? Where's their dad? Where are the family members of said child? So that we can at least get a description of the child. How tall are they? What color are their eyes? What color is her hair? What does she have on? What was she doing? What does she like to do? Where does she like to hang out? I just wanted to express this because we're taking this information because all we hear is 27 missing children, and that's it. And we're off. We're going. We're all in different directions, all on different platforms. We're announcing this stuff, and we're all in. You've got our attention, and now we're gonna put it on our platforms. These 27 children are missing, but that's all you're really telling us. You're not really giving us the information that we need to help you find them. If that's what your goal is, do you want us to help you find these kids, or you want to focus on trafficking because that's what's about to happen? Are we about to see our children at alarming rates come up missing? It's just really troubling that not one news station is able to produce a family member of a child who's missing, even less 27 of them with no photos, right? And again, from what I understand, these children are African American, or most of them are. So the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because, again, we're watching this TV show. We're enjoying this TV show. We do reviews on this TV show. But this is make-believe, It's fiction. It's not real life. But we have this actually going on in real life, If this is what has happened, then we need more information. And I encourage whoever is in charge, or whoever has influence, or whoever is going to be producing stories on this, and giving information, to really give information on the location, the exact location of these children when they were missing, and just more information. No one is asking that question. They even had one of the newscasters, or one of the press, the people from the quote unquote press. There were like 2 or 3 of them, and they were dancing around. They never even asked specific questions about the 27. You're talking about trafficking and what could happen, and the runaways, and task forces, and all this other stuff. You're talking about other stuff that's very important. Statistics are very important. The task forces are very important. Bringing in the FBI is very important. Introducing these departments that you say are, very passionate about their jobs, and it's critical that they do this and do that. We get it. But let's talk about the 27. Why can't we talk about the 27? That's what this story is missing. It has so many holes in it. I want to talk about these 27 children. Let's stick to the script. Let's stick to what we're talking about here. Because you'll start off with the 27, and then you'll end up in a whole other topic. Right? And then they're using these trigger words and these, these little phrases, these that kind of glosses over the 27, but focus on something else, like trafficking. Of course, trafficking is important. I'm not saying that it's not important. But if you're going to start the story off talking about 27 missing children, why not stick to that? Why not give us the details on that? Right? I just want us to think, guys. I want us to ask the important questions, and let's focus on what they're telling us. Let's focus on the missing children that you say are missing. If they're missing, where are the photos? Who are these children for real? Was this intentional? Did you put these 27 silhouettes up here and then just give us this narrative that everybody is saying the same thing? And I get it. When you're doing global news, you have a script. You have a script. I was in media production. I directed a couple of newscasts. I know how the scripts are given, right? So who's writing the script? Who's writing the script? Because whoever's writing the script and leaving out important information, you're leaving out the main characters. The main characters are missing. How are you building a story on circumstance and stats and examples? I just don't understand that. I just really want, like I said, I may be completely wrong. This story may have updated yesterday and I just don't know about it because I don't watch it. I just happen to overhear, and I just want us to focus on the 27. You know, like I said, if this is indeed happening, then we need more information other than, you know, how well someone is doing their job and how much they love their job, and they should love their jobs, you know. But, you know, I just really want more information about the missing children. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. You know, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.